Good morning, everyone. How are you feeling today? For the rest of the day, which the 3 hours you're going to spend with me, I'm going to request you to please put on your video. It's a request. If not possible, please do switch on your mics and start talking. We're just 20 people. We can do that. Uh, Throughout the next 4 hours or 3 hours, whenever you have a doubt, you can put it on the chat, and when you know an answer but others don't, you can reach out and help them out. Okay, it's not me driving it. Everybody is going to learn together. Uh, so I want to start with a small game today. It's an yes or no game. So I'm going to be asking a bunch of questions. You guys are going to say yes or no. And if you're not willing to put your mic on, you can also do reactions at the bottom of the screen where you have a thumbs up. Thumbs up down should be somewhere there. So are you all ready to play the game? Let's do a thumbs up. Finding reactions. Okay. Okay. We all figured out how to do thumbs up. That's great. Let's do the game. I'm going to ask a bunch of questions. Before that, I need to see your faces. So I'm going to just rearrange my windows. So that happens. Cool. First question. Do you know how to make entries to a database? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Cool. Please, few thumbs up, few thumbs down. Okay. Do you know how to validate a form data submitted by a user? You have an application, user coming in, typing a bunch of items. Now how to validate your form data. Okay. Thumb down, thumb up. We can also use like the rocket symbol when you don't know something. That's okay. We'll use that as a thumbs down. Cool. The third one, what's the point? I'll come to it. We have few more questions. Do you know how to write an HTML form? A lot of thumbs up. Okay, I think you guys are really smart at this moment. Let's up the game, okay? Given an audio file, do you know how to split it according to the voices? You're going to split the audio file and find the voices in them. Oh. Yes, we're really upping the game. We are all in rocket mode. Great. Given a large database, do you know how to make changes to them without affecting your application? Like it's million record table, you have to make changes to it, but nothing in your application should go down. Yeah. Any rockets flying? Okay, cool. Do you know how to set up a Kubernetes cluster? Okay, all rockets flying, I see. What's the point? What do you think is the point is?
I think we are going to learn this today.
Isn't that the dream, to learn them all together?
Yes.
Any other thoughts?
Because everybody doesn't know only few of them that you told. So it would be great if we can do everything today.
That's a wish. 3 hours, all of that would be nice. The thing about that is, all of us don't know a bunch of things, a lot of things. And thanks to our Indian education system, we have been trained to not say, I don't know. And I want all of you to say, I don't know very comfortably. And that's why I had this exercise. It's okay to not know a bunch of things. And the fun fact is you can learn it. You can always spend time and learn it under time. And that's what we are doing today. Welcome to the Learning Dev. And this is the co-learning session for building backend. And we're going to be having a lot more sessions where we learn small topics. Of course, splitting an audio file based on your voice is a dream, but a dream not achievable in 3 hours until I figure it out. or until I figure out someone who can teach it very well. So today we're going to build a very small application. I don't know how many of you saw what we're going to build today. Show of hands, how many of you already know Python? Wow, okay. How many of you already know how to write an API but not in Python? I know how to write an API, but maybe in JavaScript, PHP. Cool. 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 So I think all of you already know what APIs are. How many of you, you're my special people, you're my favorite people? I don't know nothing, I'm just here to learn. Perfect. Akash, is that a raise of hand? Do you want to say something?
No, I didn't lower it.
Okay, no problem. Cool. So let's get started. Final question. Do you all have the repository with you? Okay. If you don't, I'm going to put the link one last time on the chat. After that, we're going to get started. So let me switch to the phone. Yes, this is how the repository should look. You can fork it or clone it. I'll leave it up to you. If you fork it, you will have your own copy in your own repository, and all the code you write can be pushed there as a proof that you have attended learning dev and you have written some code. Okay, that's for you. While you set it up, I'm going to clean up my window. That's what I need. Okay. And once you set up your local, it should look something like this. I'm using VS Code and I have it cloned here. I've done a bunch of things. Yeah. I have my front end running on the left and I have my back end running on the right. It should look something like this. You should have two applications running. Give me a thumbs up if you're there. Okay, you people are already a step ahead. What am I going to do for the next 10 minutes?
How do you know npm installed all the packages rightly? Because it says a lot of warning, but I am not sure it is installed properly. Npm dependencies. Do you have any steps to check?
Okay, yes. Let's also check that. Actually, if you see this repository, like explore this repository, you already have all the front-end code in. I have not hidden the front-end code away from you. So if you go to 3000 and you see this virtual candy store popping up, that's your cue that everything went well.
Okay. Now I have another question. So are you running the FastAPI backend
Yes.
to check that?
Okay. FastAPI backend, even if you don't run it, it will still give you this error.
Uh-huh. Okay, I have another question. Generally, in Flask, both it is like the front end will be tied to the back end. Okay, but you are running two server. I don't understand that part. For front end, you are running one server. For back end, you are running one server. Why there is two server? You can have one server, right? I'm just having that doubt actually.
Okay, so FastAPI, like life before FastAPI and life after FastAPI, right? Before FastAPI, life was, it's not that REST APIs became a norm. REST APIs are where you bind your database objects directly to the APIs. And when Django came out, there was not very evident front-end frameworks like React, or we were writing plain JavaScripts, right? And things like Django or Flask or Jinja made that easier for us. But now that we have React and nobody is building front end on back end anymore, like how we did it in Flask, FastAPI is a better route. You can still use Jinja in FastAPI, but that's not recommended. You build your API separately, your data objects separately, and you write your front end and the component separately. That's the whole point with FastAPI.
Okay.
Any first order of questions? Okay. Can we start coding then? Okay.
Why we are going for FastAPI instead of REST? Is there any advantages for FastAPI?
FastAPI instead of REST is not a comparison at all. REST is like a specification that you follow on top of FastAPI. Can you write FastAPI APIs without abiding to REST? Yes, you can. FastAPI is just a framework for you to write HTTP endpoints.
Like Express.js?
Yes, pretty much.
Yes, clear.
Cool. So the goal for the day, I'm going to switch and show you. This is almost the lamest thing I've ever built, but I'm very, very proud of it. So I'm going to switch the... Oh, wow. Amazing. It works. I'm going to switch to the final code. If you want to check it out, please do. There is no, hiding the answer and all. We are not in an exam room. So this is the final thing when you have all the code written, your backend is ready, front end is ready, and this is how this will look. That's the best front end I can build. But this is my candy store. And what you're going to do is you can lick the candy or bite the candy. And when you lick the candy, candies get shrunken in size. And if candies are in a certain size, you can bite them as well. Right? Now this candy is way too big. So what you have to do, you have to lick them, make it smaller, and then bite it until it's all licked up. You can load a new set of candies. Almost the lamest thing I've built, but hey, who doesn't like candy? So how do you feel about this application?
It's very creative.
Thank you. And yeah, Sanjeev, you have a lot of influence on that. Because people like colorful dashboards. That's what I learned from the last one.
I'll call my kid to see that.
Right? So we are all going to be licking a bunch of candies and biting them. Super. So this is where we want to get by the end of today. So let's switch back to the main. Since you already...
So I have a question now. Okay. I started the npm start. It says candy set not found. Is your backend running? Which says everything is working right?
Yes, correct. If you're starting up, this is how it should look.
Okay.
Okay.
But one more error is there. I'm not seeing in your screen, but I'm seeing compiled with problems. Something like that is there in my screen actually. I am using Debian. I'm not sure all the dependencies met. Maybe I will run the backend and check anything is missing.
Okay, we are going to do 5 to 10 minutes of repo setup.
Okay.
But before that, for most of them who has already set it up, what I'm going to do is if you go to first steps in FastAPI, which is also linked in the repository, you will see an hello world example. I want you all to try that. And the second example is path parameters. So this is like the first two items in here. Create a hello world API and create a hello name API. Both of them, you can find it here. One is on the first steps and one is on the path parameters. So those of you who already have it set, do try these out. And if you do not have your repository set, please share your screen and show me what's going on. If you see errors, it's not coming up.
Hi, Ron. I just install the dependencies for both front end and back end. Front end it's running, so I can see that front end UI skin. Whereas in back end, I'm getting an error when I try to run that fast API main.py. I'm getting an error like bash fast API command not for. So actually, I checked with whether Python is installed in the CMD, like main CMD. It says like Python 3.12 or some kind of version it is installed. But
Can you
like
share the screen?
yeah, sure. I'm getting this FastAPI main.py command not found.
Hmm. I'm requesting remote control.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So I think I might have been the culprit for this also. I forgot the virtual environment part of it. Holy moly, what was that? Oh, can you close this and point me to where your Python is installed?
Yeah.
I mean, is the path set?
Do one thing, like
Yeah.
type where Python 3 and you should get it in output.
I don't think it's installed like that. Like the path for Python 3, it's not set, I guess.
Yeah, I
Oh,
checked with this.
cool. Python.
No, where Python 3. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. This is cool.
Yeah, it's,
Can we go back to just to okay. Python. Okay, that's good. Python, and APM. So package directly executed. Is this a common thing for all Windows people? I wonder. Let me try
Yeah.
an command.
Like I do.
I think you need an VNV. Try Python 3 M VNV.
I'll do that for him.
No, Python 3.
3 is not set in his path.
Okay, yeah, this is Windows.
Yes, GitHub code space is a great option. Can we switch back to the
Try creating an environment so that you can install in that and you can directly access.
instruction? I missed, it's on me.
Yeah, now. Okay.
No, I don't. Do we have a VM? Okay. I don't know how to do this in scripts, I think. Activate.
Activate it.
Is it still source?
Yes.
No.
You can directly give the folder name.
Scripts slash. Okay. I wonder what happened there.
Can you check Python version? Just in your after activating the virtual URL.
I don't know whether it got activated. I still see the old path though.
Yeah, I too got this error initially, but like several times I checked it. I thought maybe it could be set
Yeah.
or something.
I can comment that out from record.
Which one?
UV loop. So basically, it's not compatible with Windows 16.
Yeah, I tried with that one as well. I just removed and I tried to install, but again I was getting error. Seems like some Windows kind of dependency, so again I added that.
So Windows I haven't used in like 10 years, so I'm not the best person to teach that. Why is
I'm the only person in Windows user in this entire team. Or
I think you missed to save one.
oh,
Maybe next time we can have some Docker image so that everybody can use.
I mean, we can still use code base. We can still use code spaces, but if people can't run it in their local system, I don't see the point. I think at this point, that might be the route, at least for this session. Yeah, no luck. Do you have a fork of the repo?
I know I just cloned it.
Okay. Can you go to the repo? I mean, the GitHub repo. No, let's go to GitHub repo here.
Thank you. That Zoom's header is disturbing me.
Okay. No problem. Let's go to courses. Actually, let me fork it for you and then I copy main branch only. Yeah. No. It's wrong. Okay. Create code spaces on main. Yeah, you can follow the steps here. Be much easier to set it up. But for instructions, do still follow the old repo. And you can have multiple terminals like this. Can you set this up?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other installing issues? Download npm in my Windows. What is it saying? npm not found. You need to install npm. Yes. npm node. For those of you who don't have npm itself installed, you have to be in the respective path. Like, okay, that also works. Can manage node version and npm. Can you send me the instructions to set the path? Windows users swoop in, help Gokulakrishnan out, because I have no clue how to do that in Windows. Gokul, if you can use code spaces, go ahead with that because that will get us into the fast track and then you can figure out the installations in Windows later.
Yeah, Pavani, I think now it's installed both the front and back end. Thanks for the support.
Gokul,
Thank
you. I highly recommend not to spend more time, setting up things. I want you to build stuff. So if we can get into that, great. Cool. Everybody's setup is done. Anyone still having issues? How many of you got the Hello World done?
I have npm side issues there in my system.
Can you share and show?
Yeah.
Is that Windows? I have no help there.
It's not Windows, it's a Linux machine. So I have, let's say I start npm start. I do that. So this is the error I'm getting in the backend.
Backend.
Backend is working. Okay. in the backend. Okay. Now I think it's a better error than before. One second. Can't set not found.
What we are expecting, we have to build the backend so that this will work.
Okay.
If you're getting this error, then it's right, which means we are not yet build the backend. We have to build it yet. Expose the
Okay.
APIs, but it will work. Yes, that's the.
No, when you sound that you sound the front end with that candy, right? So I thought we are going there. So the moment I run the backend, my expectation was the candy will come up.
Oh, correct. But you all have to build the backend for that, for the candy to show up. That's the goal post that we are going towards. If you all can see colorful candies on your screen, it's a win.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. So looks like setup is done. Hello world is done. Hello name. Hello with your name.
I have set up backend and it is up and running, but I'm getting the same issue in front end that is your backend is running.
Yes. Okay. That is bad error messaging on my part. If you're getting this, you're on the right path. Okay. Which means backend is running, but the APIs are not there. So even I'm also getting the same error right now. Even if I say okay multiple times, because we have to build those APIs to get this run. You're getting this, you're in the right place. Right? Cool. Let me also catch up with you. You're all one step ahead of me. Okay, and then go to main, and then write those APIs to the hello world. Return slash colon hello world. And get yeah.
We're not seeing what you're typing.
Come again?
No, we're not seeing what you're typing.
Sorry about that. Name. Yeah. Thanks, ChatGPT. Cool. Now I have two APIs. Both are get APIs, which means I can test them out on my Windows. On my browser. I think it's running in 8,000 8,000 slash.
After returning hello world, I'm still getting that error. Backend is not running. Do I need to restart the server again? But it actually restarted by itself when I made the change backend. Do I need to restart front end?
Okay. Let me clarify something here. When you're loading your candy page, what's happening is it's on the I can't this work. Okay. On the back end, I go to network. It's trying to hit
it says candies API. Okay, try to hit the candies API, right?
Let's try to get the candy API, which we will write in a bit.
Okay.
For now, we are not there. We will come there yet. So it's an API that's getting 404, which is why you're which is completely fine until we write the candies API, and then it fails. Then we will talk about the candies. I know you're
so let me check again.
Okay. So to check hello world, hit the backend directly using this URL where your backend is running. So your backend is running somewhere in 8,000. It should come up.
Okay. You want to change the path of URL. Okay.
And then if I say hello Bhavani, it should say hello Bhavani. These two are the ones that we are doing here.
Okay. Close then. Okay. No. Something is wrong.
Anyone having issues here?
I'm still getting the candies.
Bhavani, those who use CodeSpace, I mean, for
Mhm.
the backend, what is the URL? I mean, is anybody using CodeSpace? Yeah.
Can
I've
you
used Codespace. Can you
Yeah.
show the screen? I can help you with that.
Sure.
when I want to take leave?
So this is my. Be able to see my screen?
I have a confusion.
Yes.
Localhost port 3000, which hits the root path. Root path is our Hello World API.
I'll come to that, Rangraj, in a bit.
Okay.
Who are sharing screen?
I think Joseph
Right.
wants to
Will I
share.
will I
Okay, share your screen. We were almost there. Let's finish that and address Rangraj concern.
Sorry, like, do I have to share?
Yeah, can you share?
This is my URL in front.
Can you go to the code space? No, can you go to the code space window?
Sure.
On the ports tab next to terminal, the bottom. Yes, you have two things running. One is 3000, one is 8000. 8000 is your backend.
Good. Thank you.
So who is using code space, you have to, like, there is the ports tab there that will expose your backend. Rangaraj, your question again, please. Okay, let's give him time to come up with a question. We have two things running. One is our front end, which is still trying to get something from the back end. We're not touching it yet. And we also have our back end, which is exposing just the APIs and not doing really anything at this.
Okay, this is the question I have. Okay. So you are trying to access a different port. Okay, that is that means that front end runs in a different port, 8000. Okay.
Yes. Front end runs in 3000.
Front end runs in 3000. Okay. Then back end runs in 8000.
Correct.
Okay. I got it now. Sorry.
No
so
problem.
I have to hit the back end directly. That is, then we can get the hello world, correct?
Correct. All right. So that's a brief pause. That's all the introduction to FastAPI that you need. And if you want to learn every nitty-gritty details of FastAPI, you can go ahead, do this work. Highly, highly recommend it. But I'm not going to do that now. We are here to have fun. So we're going to skip a lot of theory and straightly run into this. Okay? What we're going to do is, now I have shown you my candy store. It's up to you to decide. We're going to take just 5 minutes. Take a text editor, list down all the features that you will build in your virtual candy store. Okay, we're going to take 5 minutes. Open a text editor. It can be Visual Studio Code. You can create a new file somewhere here, design.txt, and then write down all the features. Oh my God, I'm still not sharing my screen, am I? Implement all the features you want in your virtual candy store. Okay, I'm gonna put 5 minutes on the clock and shut my mouth. All right. How colorful is your candy store? The faces are not as colorful. What's going on?
I have a slightly different variant from your candy store. So I have a version where you can either buy or steal the candy. Like if you buy, you lose money, but if you steal, you don't lose money. And you can either buy it for yourself or your friend, and
Okay.
like yeah, both of your sugar content increases. So basically, it's a diabetes awareness game.
Wow. From a mini candy store to a diabetes awareness. What the hell? That's a mark of a true product engineer. Who else has some other crazy?
I have created a where we can add different flavors of candy and build your own candies. Like we give different options, like in case of color, like rather than pink, green, yellow one, and you can build your own candy using the different flavors that we choose. And option two would add some sprinkles on top of the candies.
So it's a design your own virtual candy store. Nice. I like it.
I have only one candy, which will be in the rainbow pattern. When you lick, it will change from dark color to the light color. That is the idea, but I'm not sure how to do in the front end. But that is the idea actually.
Front end we are not worrying about right now. We are only worrying about back end. We will get to building that for sure. But that is really, really creative, and that's all I want to do in learning dev. Nice. What else?
My daughter would love to eat such rainbow candies.
Rainbow candies, no? Yeah, I will also like it. I also have a small kid inside me. She gets excited by candies. Anyways, any other candy freaks like me? Come on, you have it right there. All right. So what we are going to do is, yes, we are all excited to see our candies live. Yes, we want to write those fast APIs very soon. But I'm going to give you like a small thing which we use a lot as backend developers, which is designing our backend schema and designing our backend APIs. This one skill goes a long way. What I've seen with common backend courses is that they will teach you a hobby project, and that's it. And when you go back to trying your own stuff, you will end up like, what am I supposed to do now? Where do I even start? Stuff like that. All I know is I have a bunch of features. I don't know where to start. So for that, we are going to do a small exercise. How does front end know backend is running? Okay, cool. All the technical questions we can put it aside because we are going to put the backend designer's hat. The first thing when I want to build a project is I will write down all the things I want to achieve with it. And people who have taken my course before, you will know this. What's the next step is I'll go through each of my list and list down all the objects I notice. Okay. So first is objects. For example, here candies is an object. Second, here is also candy, and then there is user. So there is a user object. And users can bite into candy that are too large, candies that when I'm doing this, I'm also noticing other parameters associated with that. For example, candy that are too large means candy has an associated size to it, right? So I'm going to also make note of that. It's auto completed. So sand candy has a size, and then things that aren't biteable needs to be licked to achieve a certain size. Again, size. I want to introduce new candy flavors. So candy will also have a flavor to it. Okay, great. And each size of candy has a flavor, user taste, all the way. Okay, and then great. Now I skip through a bunch of things because I know it's all candies and stuff. Then I'll also track another thing which is called as actions. Why is my data file? Oh. actions. So here, show a list is an action. Show a list of candies, right? And then user can taste by licking or biting a candy. So licking is an action. Biting is an action. And then things that aren't biteable in a certain size, that's like a condition. Certain size, if it's not biteable, then you have to lick it. It's like a condition, right? Depends on the size. Next, I want to introduce new candy flavors. Let's add new flavor. I'm also getting slowly closer to code. New flavors. Each set of candy has a variety of flavors. I want to track how quickly user tastes away all the candy. I want to track how many candies a user has tasted, all of that, right? Track how fast something gets eaten away. Track how much of it is enjoyed, something like that. So the whole idea is to have objects and actions. No matter how big, how small, this list can be 25, 26, it's fine. All you have to do is arrive at these objects and actions. And you can easily link them to objects and actions. Like candies, on top of candies, you will have a list, licking, biting, and then you will also need to add a new flavor. On top of this whole action, a bunch of other actions comes in, which is tracking the user experience, right? So what I want to do is take another 5 minutes, come up with objects and actions for the candy store you have designed, right? I'm going to pause this minute there for questions.
Can we say color as an object?
Absolutely, yes. And thanks for reminding me also. But maybe my flavor will have a color. All right. That was 5 minutes. How did it go?
It was good. Imagining breaking down the features into actions and objects.
Mm-hmm. What?
I think it's Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I think it's simple because the use case is simple, which is great. So it's very clear, like the action and the objects, it's very separate. So I'm assuming it will get more complex for the complex feature set and the use cases are.
Correct. So as and when I touch this tracking, it's going to get way more complex. That's why I stopped here. And that's a good place to be in because we don't want to complicate it when we start.
Yeah.
And we will not build it. So step by step
Yes.
is it. Any other interesting attributes for candies?
When the transition of colors, right? When we lick candy, the color of the candy will transition from dark to light. That is one attribute I feel. So when the size decreases, the color decreases. Correct. It won't maintain the dark color when at the initial state.
So you want to track a candy's progression between different stages, right?
Yeah. So like we need to maintain the state. Let's say the first state will be default color. The second state, once somebody licked or bitten, say when somebody licked when it is dark, it goes to the light color.
Correct.
When somebody bitten after it went to the light color, it remains in the light color, but there will be some pieces will not be there.
Wow. Okay. So that is one complex use case. I don't know how we've designed it as objects. Maybe tell me.
No, I have not designed that as an object. I put it in the condition actually.
Okay, that way. Cool. So you just have a candy. You're not going to track it as in you're not going to have a database entries for that.
It will track from the default value.
Okay, cool.
That's also
color. It will be like a color range, right? Like an array of colors, and you have to just.
Yeah, I think we are complicating it too much. He's saying he's like gonna have like a default value for the full range, and then percentages out of it.
Okay.
All calculated dynamically. He doesn't want to track it. That's fine. I was thinking creating candies with prompts. Like I didn't see free text image generating APIs. Like create any candy you want. Wow, now we are entering AI era, which is not what this is, but maybe in another learning dev session where we generate candies based on text. I'm going to steal that idea, definitely, and put it in a learning dev session. Cool. So the reason for doing it is the objects will give you what database tables you should track or what objects you should track. And this will give you all the APIs that you should write to expose them. And that's exactly what we are going to do. I know you all have crazy ideas. Even I did. So what we're going to do is keep your ideas aside, get our front end and back end working. And then from there on, we're going to go back to your APIs and then start writing. So first order of business is to get rid of, everything. So first order of business is to get rid of this error, which says there is no backend running. Try to get some backend running so that you will have some candies loaded. So first order of business is to get the candies loaded. Right. For that, I'm going to introduce something else. Which didn't come up yet. Pydantic and FastAPI are like thick-skinned. They are one and this they go very well together. The thing is, when you're writing APIs, you need to know what is the input that is going to come in, what is the output that is going to go out, and that needs to be standardized so that you can expose those APIs to another person writing the front end. I have never written like front end other than for hobby projects. So if I'm exposing my APIs to a front end person, I need to give it proper documentation. And Pydantic and FastAPI makes that job so easy. Right? So here is a Pydantic model that is based on delivery and dimensions. I don't know what that means, but then with FastAPI, Pydantic comes pre-installed. I'm going to copy that, put it in my main.py, and then edit it in such a way that it fits my candy store. So I'm going to create a model called candy set, and it will have a list of candies. Okay. And this candy I haven't decided yet. So I'm going to decide on candy, which is going to be a base model again, and it will have an ID and size. Flavor, I'm going to leave it for now, but you can also introduce it, not a big deal. So this is going to be a list of candy, and here is going to be a list of candy set. All of this is going to be done dynamically. There's no database involved yet. We'll do that in the later part. So does this make sense? We are just giving a data structure from your objects here to this. Does it make sense? I'm not introducing a user yet because for now, it's just one user. That's all I care about. Let me know you're done with this. You won't see any changes in the API. It will still be the same. You will write the API in a minute. Yes, Google.
I can see that ID, right? It is colored. Why is it colored? Like it should be normal like size, right? Is it because it is also a data type or something?
You're getting a color in this ID?
Yes, but not in size.
But actually, like ID is definitely a keyword in Python. Like just like class, it can be blue in color, but here it doesn't make sense. It's a different color. Maybe it's a browser thing. Is it giving you an error?
No, but I changed it to candy underscore ID just in case.
Can you show a minute? Let's see if that is of any issue.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Is this visible?
Yeah.
So if I make it candy, it becomes blue. And if I use an underscore, it becomes
Yeah,
normal, just like
that's just the what you say, the editor that you're using, right? That's the formatting. It's not gonna error out or anything.
Okay.
I mean, because it's inside candy object, it's going to be fine.
So if from front end I will get all the information and I have to fill that here, then that will go inside our routes which we create in 39 and 40.
Here, this one?
Yeah, I'm just asking.
If you're sending user inputs is what you're asking, right?
Yes, yes.
We will cover that in a bit.
Yes, yeah.
Candy and candy set are class name, and ID size and candies are properties of those classes. I want to know what is that base model in the bracket of the class name.
So it's just the way Pydantic for you to define Pydantic objects. We are not using just Python class. We are using Pydantic classes, which is tightly coupled with FastAPI, right? Why I'm showing that is, let's see if there is any example here, right? So here, what you will do is you don't do serialize. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not sharing my screen properly again for the nth time. Here we go. So since it's tightly coupled with FastAPI, what you do is in generally writing Django or in not even Django in Flask, what you do is you construct the JSON on the fly and then send it. But here, since you've defined it as a class, all you do is you create that class object and then return that object as such. You don't have to, do the JSON serialization, deserialization process. All you have to do is create an object, return it, and that a FastAPI will take care of all the JSON side of things. That makes it so easier to write your code. It's cleaner, it's more readable, and it's more manageable. And that's why I love FastAPI better than Flask, because it gives you that structure. And most importantly, it also generates that API documentation for you. Does it make sense?
Yes. Understand.
Okay, now let's write these APIs, get candy, lick candy, and buy candy. First, one step at a time. Is there questions? How do you front end know where the back end is running? That's still going. General question: how is FastAPI, Flask, etc. is different? Flask is old, well established, and FastAPI has recently incorporated asynchronous capabilities of Python, and that's how it's established itself. But with integrations like Pydantic, it's much more robust, I would say. Gives a lot more handlers for you to do things more cleanly than Flask. Flask, you have to write a lot of things by yourself, or you have to rely on external packages. But whereas FastAPI, it just out of the box gives you a lot of things, but it's also lightweight and also includes the asynchronous capabilities of Python. So candies and candy set be list of candies since it's type rather than a list. Yeah, I am like lazy to import it. That's pretty much why I used list. It doesn't matter. If you're strict on typing, please go ahead. Let's write the get candies or list candies API. What I'm going to do is app.get candies and then return a candy set. For this, I have to create a candy set also. So candy set. I'm gonna create a bunch of candy sets like this. No. Don't rely on Copilot. Okay, let's create one candy and then from there we'll move on. Candy of ID equal to 1, comma, size equal to 10. Okay. Now I want 10 of these candies or 100 of these candies. Let's do range of 10. And then I'm going to use a list comprehension for this. Here is candy, here is IDs, and ID is going to be I, and the size is going to be 10 for all the candies. And that's my candy set. I think this is how it needs the API, but I'm going to just test the API first and then introduce it to the front end. So let's go to our 8000 board and then /candies. It says hello candies because we have done this. What happens is, since it goes through the order of how we have defined it, this doesn't match. Excuse me. This doesn't match, and it goes straight to it goes to candies. But this will always match no matter whatever you send to it, right? So ordering of your APIs matter. So let's move this up and then keep this down so that candies gets captured. What's happened? There we go. So I have a list of candies which has a bunch of sizes. All of those are same size and it's like this. Okay. Let's also do one more thing. Import random. And then I'm going to randomize the sizes. Random dot rand int, I guess, of 0 to 10. Like this is my minimum size and that's my maximum size. Let's try it now. Okay, I have candies of different sizes. Now, I'm just hoping that I have done the right thing. Let's see. Okay, candy /1. It's also expecting an ID here. So we have to pass the ID. And for the response, we will see if it's in the right format. /ID. And here ID is an int. We are not going to do anything with it for now. Okay, now you can see that the ID is done. And I get a 200 okay. But then still like there is something else going on, an error. Can you see that? Why do you think that is happening? It's 200. All looks good. But then something shifts out. How do we even find this? Manifest.json. Here it's
it is not. How do we know it is talking to port 8000?
How do we know it's talking to port 8000? Great question. That's in the front end code. Front end, if you go to api.js, because it's doing this. If you go to api.js, here is where I have defined the API. All right. And when you're doing it in a production environment, this will be read from a environment variable.
Yeah, env file. Yeah.
Yes. Cool. So what is happening is, let's say you have written a nice candy store. You have exposed all the APIs and you have established it, you have published it. What happens if someone else uses the same, designs a fabulous front end, uses your backend, hard-earned effort, and builds the same front end again, and then uses your backend, your server, all your costs to use that API, right? Does it make sense? That can happen, right? How does your front end know this is the backend code that I'm supposed to use? And how am I stopping from another person to use the same backend that I have built? And that's why when you make error, when you make API calls like this, it's going to error out because this is called as a CORS issue. CORS, right? Cross-browser, cross-origin resource sharing. So you as a backend have to define what are the endpoints that can use my APIs. And that is Flask CORS. You will see that in most of the code bases, which has front end, dot API we are in. Okay. Let's go to Candy Store. And here is where I've written everything about CORS and exactly what I've just explained right now. So we are going to introduce the CORS and say 3000 is fine to have for all get and post methods. Right? And credentials are fine. There's a bunch of configurations there. We're going to put that also in our FastAPI. Let it reload. Now let's
That means other than that endpoint, you don't get requests.
Yes.
I thought, okay, actually I thought we need to define somewhere the IP address of the endpoint. Yeah, we are local host, I understand that. But if we define, let's say you have 1,000 endpoints, how do we, it will be clumsy, right?
Yeah, you can also do, let's say app.inv.tar.
Okay, so it will allow any endpoint.
Yes. You can also,
which will have the prefix of app.inv.
App.inv, yes. And it should also be in the port 3000. You can also do just star, which means it allows everything, which is not ideal. You can also do star.3000, which means everything with 3000.
It's like we when we do in Flask 0.0.0.0, when you do that, it will it's like that. Okay.
Exactly. Okay, now we have exposed this. Even now it might not work, which is fine. Oh, it worked. Great. So here are my 10 candies with different sizes. This worked out of the box because I have abided to the rules of the front-end API. The front-end is looking for candies, and inside that it's a candy set. If I'm directly sending candy set without that structure, it's going to fail. See, didn't load any candy. It's also giving me an error, right? I'm abiding to the rules of what front-end is expecting. How do I know that? Is somewhere in the front-end code. Let's see. Load.candy. This candy set is using. I don't want to get into this front-end at all, but if we are here, yes. So inside candy set, there is candies, and then we are mapping each candy to populate the candy ID and size. Don't get too caught up by this. For now, all you have to know is create your data, wrap it in a candies dictionary, and then send it to the front end. That should do the work. Still, if I do lick or if I do bite now, it's gonna fail. That's okay. We will do more of this. For now, let's take 10 minutes to write our candies API, list candies API. I want to see colors on all your screens. So 10 minutes on the clock. Give me a thumbs up if you're done.
Navani, what is the difference between this Get Candies API and List Candies?
No, it's the same. For now, it's the same. I've just moved it in a different.
Okay.
I can also rename it, doesn't matter. Tejas, if you already wrote the base model, we are going to expose that base model in an API, which is here. So we're just trying to write this and get candies in your screen. CORS, I will cover it again in a bit after we finish writing.
Front and back end communication is done, but the problem is I am getting a empty image only with the values from the backend. It is not displaying the image. What might be wrong?
Can you show?
Yeah. Yeah, it's showing something.
Do
I
you
think
have
some
JavaScript disabled?
maybe, I'm not sure. Let me check. I don't think so. It's disabled. Install create React app sample.
Not required.
Let's check its settings. It says block.
Can you go to network and refresh?
Network.
Network
Is
in the styles is there, no? The same, yeah. Can you refresh the page now? Can you close this console? There is an X in the corner.
this one?
No, the other one, the one on the end of the screen, right end. Oh, that's better. So let's see if everything is getting loaded. Mandal.js,
I think
chunk.js.
this
Yeah,
JSON is not loading, I think.
no,
Okay.
that's got nothing to do with it. Let's see what is missing. Some CSS for sure.
Okay. Let me check the front end server. What is the error it is throwing?
It wouldn't
There
throw.
is no error, is there?
Wouldn't throw anything.
Okay.
JS.
So
Yeah,
let me check
keep using
some.
Tailwind for this.
So
Maybe.
there is no backend error too. Okay.
Too bad we can't see colors.
So I think maybe I changed the browser. Let me check 1 second. Okay, I'll check with another browser and I will come back again.
Sure. Can you show us Google?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. This thing is-
It's coming up.
yeah, I'm using code spaces itself because I don't know, there is some error with Node, but
That
I have created the front end with the map routed to candy/id, right? So still in the React app, should I maybe give something like this?
no. What have you written in your main.py? Can you show the list API, the pydantic classes? Okay, can be set.
Should I uncomment this one?
Typo error in the line 48.
Very good.
Candace.
Oh, there's no equal to. Is that it?
Can you go to the main.py?
No, I think I have to uncomment this candy set, right?
No, you don't have to do it in the front end. Front end don't have to be candy/1. Front end will always be that home path.
There is an error in your main.py. In the line number, can you go to get candies? So in the line number 48, it is you have added a E after D, Candace it. Line number 48.
48.
48.
48.
Line number 48. 48. No,
Yeah, it is size and colon
it is
int, right?
60, sorry, 60.
Now it's 60.
Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. And I don't need to use this one, right?
No, you don't need to use that one. That's just for your reference.
Okay, all right. So if I save this,
Can you please explain that looping? I'm new to Python here.
What thing again? Sorry.
That looping part, candy class.
Looping part. Okay.
It's still running.
That API, please.
I'm still seeing it just loading the web. It's not actually this. Should I get this route also here?
Can you like stop your server and restart it? Maybe it's hung with something. Looping part is list component.
Both my front and backend.
Come again?
Both front and back servers.
Yes.
Okay.
See, candies.slash.py is a backend API, not a front end API. You don't have to put that on the front end. Front end is always localhost/3000. If you're using your backend API, put candies/5.
Oh, okay, fine.
Just give me a second.
I'm getting internal server error if I use my backend's API and then give /5 there. But
Sorry, I had to step away for a minute. Oh, what? Did you resolve it, Gokul?
no, Bhani, for some reason I got out. But yeah, anyways, I'll try to solve on my own.
Go for it. Someone had CSS issues. That's okay. If CSS is not working, it's fine. We can still work with that. But just a general glimpse of things. How is it looking? Good, bad, terrible?
I mean, I can see colors.
Mm-hmm.
I have something interesting. I want to get your thoughts on it. So what happens is, I can see colors on localhost 3000, but then actually it's easier to show you. Can you see that part?
Yeah.
So this one is fine. This is localhost 3000. This one is there. I mean, I'm not an expert, so I don't understand exactly what's happening, but this felt interesting. Is it
That-
because of cost?
I think it's stuck in some caching. Can you please click
Oh,
OK?
okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just an observation. So let's say if I try it. 3000. Yeah, go for it.
I cannot click on that window for some reason. Are you using CodeSpace?
No. Local. Not.
It's not switching for me.
Should we try again?
Yeah, maybe. Top remote control.
Now?
Bad fix. There should be something happening, Gokul. If you can share screen and we can go through it in a... What happens, Sanjeev?
Sorry, Bunny. But
Yeah, there we go.
someone else was sharing me the
Yeah, 1 second. Let's finish this.
was sharing me the I can maybe go after him. Yeah.
For those of you who have done and know a little bit of Python, go try lick candies and reduce the candy size for each lick. I, for some reason, cannot do it.
Control. Okay, fine. I
Yeah.
will play around a bit and then I will. I'm
Can
sure
you-
it's. Yeah.
Can you do inspect? Go to the network tab. Yeah, refresh. It's getting 200. Response. But the other one is working.
Yeah, so that's what makes me curious. Like
Okay,
what
go back
how
to the React app, the first one. Right click on the refresh button. Refresh button of the browser.
Oh, okay. I didn't
And
know that you could do that.
hard refresh. Why is it in dark color? Oh no. No, empty. Can you try again and do empty cache and hard refresh? Wonder what's going on here.
This probably does something. No. Yeah.
No?
So yeah, not like this is the like this and localhost is the same, right? If I understand that
Yeah,
right.
it's same.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, 127.0.0.1.
I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it is just curious. It's like,
Oh, okay, I get it. So now it has to be like CORS has to be 127.0.0.1.
okay, that's what I thought.
That's what.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. Cool, I'll try that.
Google, can you share?
Yeah, Bani. So,
That's pretty much
where
what you do.
where is the front end? Yeah, where is the front end getting connected to the backend? Like the should I ask, right? We give something like and then some local. So
Sorry, your voice is
I
breaking.
am not very much sure about FastAPI. Where do we do? Hello, is it? I'm audible now?
Yes, you are.
No? Okay. Sorry.
Google, I cannot hear most of what you
Yeah. So I was just basically.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you now. I think it's going and coming.
Hello.
Code works, but my front end doesn't show, it shows error using CodeSpace. Okay, CodeSpace, I think the problem is because we just did it for localhost, it's doing that. So for those of you who are using CodeSpace, copy your front-end URL and then put it on the CORS. I think that's what's happening with Gokul as well, that the front end is in CodeSpace, so it's using a different URL. Capture that, put it on CORS. It's Sanjeev's experiment that gave me the light. So thank you, Sanjeev. Anyone got to write the byte and the link part of it? Okay, let's address the questions. Someone asked about the loop. Who was that?
Yes, I'm.
Okay, cool. So what language are you familiar with?
I'm familiar with JavaScript.
JavaScript, cool. I am very little familiar with JavaScript, but let's see if we can arrive at a common space. So this is the output that we want to arrive at. This is your, what do you say, object equivalent in JavaScript, right? This is an object. Now candy set is a list, correct? Or an
List in the sense array.
Array, yeah. Right. Now I'm going to write a for loop which ranges from 1 to 10. So for I in range, this is a for loop in Python, 0 to 10. So this is what is happening here. When I say 10, the first one is optional. So I'm going to just leave it at 10, not to confuse you. Let's also open another Python shell so that you can see this thing in live. Okay. Print of I will give you 0 to 9, correct? Next, what we're going to do is for each loop, we are going to create an object for candy. I'm not sure what the equivalent in JavaScript is, but we are creating an object with ID equal to I and then size equal to 10 for now, right? This is an object and this is a candy object. For each loop, we have to add it to the list. So candy set dot append of candy, right? So let's say we have this. Actually, let's put all of this here. Okay, and then let's do this. Oops, my bad. Sorry, I didn't press enter. Put all of this here, and then let's copy this code. Put it. Yeah, bad formatting. Return outside. Okay, return is not required. Just our candy set. Now, if I see candy set, it's a list of objects with each candy and its size, right? So this is step 1. Step 2 is creating this randomized integer from 0 to 10 that will go here. That's how I construct this for loop. Now in Python, there is something called as list comprehensions, which is the size of the array is not defined at the time of definition, but rather it can grow and shrink according to your size. So what happens when you do this append is Python does not know how far it should stretch that list. So it keeps stretching it so much that it is a performance hurdle. Like it kills your performance for some reason. For that, they have come up with this list comprehension. That is, it constructs the list in memory and then finally puts it to a variable. Instead of randomly incrementing the memory, it's going to finally check the size and allocate the memory. So instead of doing all of this, we're writing a comprehension. Every time I write a comprehension, I'll define the variable, do this curly braces, start writing the for loop. This is the for loop for I in range. And then I will start using this internally. We will be referring an object. This object I'll copy and then put it here. That's how you construct a comprehension. It takes some practice to write it, but once you get a hang of it, you wouldn't write it any other way. Got my backend running properly, bad internet. So does that answer your question, Kanyapan?
Yes, thanks.
Cool. So now the problem for me is that front end is not able to hit the back end. I'm using code spaces. Yes, if you're using code space, in allow origins, copy your front end URL and put it here. It's no longer local host hitting it. It's some API given by some endpoint given by GitHub. So we just have to put it and it'll work. See the ID and sizes of the candy, but front end is still saying, Daniel, if you are on code spaces, again, change this URL or do a comma and introduce that code spaces URL. My backend code works, front end doesn't, shows error using code spaces. Cool. Yes. Add your code spaces content URL here. All right, so that is that. Now let's start writing the lick candy API, right? So app.get. What is the point of ID? So let's say you're opening your application in two different browsers. Actually, here ID doesn't make sense. It's just a matter of habit that I define IDs for every object in the database. But for candy set, IDs does make sense because let's say we are opening the application in two different browsers. Each of them will be loading a different set of candy. One is 1, another is 2. We don't know that. We can control it. So that's why we need like IDs for it. But for now, I'm just going to roll with whatever we have. Now I'm just going to, I just have one set of candy and I'm going to keep loading it. ID doesn't make sense here. Def lick candies. I'm not going to give you code right now. You're going to write it. I'm just going to give you the pointers. Point number 1. Every lick actually, there is an interesting programming problem coming up. Every lick of the given candy set should be licked randomly and the size should shrink. Correct? Now, which means whatever I've said so far is nullable because I need a mapping which, given an ID, gives me the candy set. I need to maintain that somewhere, whatever I have shown to the user. How are we going to do it? It's a programming problem.
You can put in a dictionary.
Just put it in a dictionary. Cool. Where?
We have already a dictionary of candies, right? Which has ID and size.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not mapped to ID. It's not mapped to ID.
Yeah, that's why whatever I said so far was nullable. What we need is also a candy set global dictionary, which is globally there. You can also use a database, but that's going to complicate things. So we're going to use a global dictionary for the whole application, which will save the ID, comma, the candy set. Okay. Cool. Now, when I list a candy, I'm going to give it an ID, a random ID, and then I'm going to name this differently. Global candy set global of ID equal to what goes here is this candy set. So now I'm maintaining a global definition of all the candies I'm generating so that later I can access it with the given ID, right? I'm also having a hack here that every time the ID is going to be 1, that's okay. Now, when I lick the candy, given this ID, I can access it by candies is equal to candy set global of ID. Questions? I see confused faces.
You're storing the initial data in the global variable, right?
Correct. So introducing a new line where we maintain the state of your candy set, and then we are going to fetch it and then lick it. So the lick part you're going to write, just take 10 minutes to finish this, and maybe the same way you can also write bite. I think it's going to be, I forgot the endpoint. So let's go check what the endpoint is. Lick slash candy ID and bite slash candy ID. That's this one. Lick and then bite. Okay. So these two are the APIs that we are going to write. I'm going to put 10 minutes on the clock to write the APIs. Open for questions. Okay, that was 10 minutes. And that was a lot of coding. I got to write only the lick part of it. Where are you guys?
Parse error out of nowhere.
I want to see that.
So this I tried the only thing that I changed was I added a dot post and I
Local.
messed around with something here, but then I changed it back to how it was.
I think, let's see if that is the culprit. Remove the slash at the end.
Oh, wow. So sad.
Even if I have to mention a Tamil meme,
Yeah, but good one. Thank you.
Where are we? Let's call on people.
Still, I face the same error, course error again. But I will share my screen. I don't know why I'm doing that.
I think it's a GitHub common issue across GitHub.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. This is what I did. So I changed my API URL to point to the code space URL, and in the main.py I have added origin for both the code space URL as well as for the local host, because
Okay.
one of it will work. And the API, the backend API works. It gives the response. I think I made some error right now.
That's okay. There is an extra C at that line.
I put candies for now.
Cool.
So that it should work. But when I click on the React tab, it says.
Can you click on that?
This is the course edit, and this is the request URL.
The problem is CORS. Okay, this is your backend.
But the backend actually works. So there is this URL, and I copy it, and this is the same thing, right? This actually gives me the response from the backend, and even in the backend, I have set the origin for both the front-end URL as well as for the local host. So should allow me.
Can you try one more thing?
Yeah.
API.js, can you keep it as localhost 8000? That shouldn't affect it, is my understanding. It should route it anyways. Did it work?
Okay, just a minute. Localhost 8000, right?
Yeah. I think.
Failed. It's a network error connection.
So it's not routing it properly. Supposed to do it. Okay, let's keep it at that front-end URL itself. I mean, the backend URL. If we get CORS, that's more dealable. Can you copy your front-end URL for 1 second?
Yes.
Can you go to your origins?
I think you need to add a slash at the end.
Do I?
I think, I'm not sure. I think so.
Okay, let me try.
Yeah, this is weird.
No.
It has to be the exact match, that much I'm aware of, but I don't know why it's not working here. Wonder what's. Once again, can you go to your FastAPI terminal? At least it is.
Instead of giving the absolute URL, can you add a star before app so that it will match anything if we miss something?
You want me to just add star, right?
Yeah.
Star as a yeah. I'm so happy that it's not working. Oh, no.
Didn't work.
Do we need to restart the backend server?
Is it a common thing across all host-based runners? Everyone is having the same issue, host-based runners.
Let me restart because the backend actually works. The problem is not with the backend, but with the frontend accessing the backend.
Okay, I'm gonna suggest something really crazy. It's like open that in a different tab from the scratch. Because we have seen that all happening.
It may catch.
Okay, I'll do just a didn't work.
Very suspicious of this. No. Okay.
No, it may cache the earlier. You need to open an incognito window and try.
I tried that. That also didn't work.
Okay.
Because
CORS issue.
Let me try empty cache. How do we know? Maybe
Can you go to your FastAPI,
Hmm.
the UI?
Fast
Allow
API.
methods, can you specify get and post specifically?
Here?
Yeah. Allow method in FastAPI main.py. Allow methods suggest get and post specifically.
Actually, I use star only in my
It
code.
works.
Yeah, it works, but it is not code space. It is a local machine.
Yeah, local machine we are getting it working. It's the code spaces maybe that's
No, but allow method I star only in mine.
Oh,
but
okay, cool. Not sure. Gokul, you got it working or you are still having this issue? Star works on local, wouldn't be the same. I'm still figuring out doing some changes to the front end. Okay. For some reason when I request. Okay, I'm gonna send you something. Just copy paste that exactly. Let's start from there. I think it's manipulating request in such a way.
I'm not sure if there is some redirection happening from the front end to from the GitHub side.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm thinking also.
So this is in the local host.
Just compare and contrast with what we have. Maybe a HTTPS here, there. Sure.
I have to copy this URL. So this can be run. This can be run. This will run modules. This will work. Okay. It works without issue. Dash into a module. It still didn't work.
Work, right? Method get content item. Let me try something on the front end, see if that works. Command. Brilliant. Okay, can we add this? Can you open api.js file and in the lick candies there is like a method post, right? To that add this more CORS, just that, yeah. And copy that whole dictionary, replicate that in the get candies also. It's like a second parameter, yeah. Remove the semicolon, one more. parenthesis.
One more parenthesis. I have to add one more, right?
Remove that one. Okay, cool. Now method, change it to get. Let's try. Okay, while we figure this out, everybody else can continue writing Byte API. I'm gonna give like another 10 minutes. Within that, we'll solve this. Sounds good?
The 302 error code says, can you go to that network error? It says 302 is the error code, right?
Yeah.
So as per HTTP error code, the 302 is the location is moved somewhere else. That means
When I verify the location, see, it is like API call origin is URL origin is from github.dev.
But it is not going to that server backend server exact location, right? Can you? It's port 8000. It is not going to that, right? The request URL is that, but it is the location is different.
No, it is actually passed as a param. So this is it, right? So they are passing that as a param, but it is not at a direct URL. They are doing some redirection happening here.
Can you scroll down? Can you show me the request headers?
Request header?
Yeah. There any? All right. Here it is. Authority get candy /1. Scroll down. Language origin is that correct only. This is the URL we have passed, right? Origin URL is this is the one we have put it in the FastAPI. So I think this is a common GitHub code base issue. I'm just trying to figure out how to fix it. Okay, time for me to load my code space.
I'll just stop sharing and we'll see like some possible ways in which I can also do this.
Yeah, I will do this setup.
Okay. It actually worked when I set the port as public. I'll just share what I did. You are in mute, Bhavani.
Yes, please.
So there is an option where I can set the code visibility to public. So I set the visibility to public for my backend code, so it started to work. Not, so it was some kind of a private connection and it didn't allow any, but still it worked from my browser. This actually worked. So
Yeah, it's only CORS that is not
okay,
executed from the right endpoint. Like if you hit it directly, it works.
okay, maybe if I have made some changes in this header part rather than the method and mode, if I have added that it is some sort of a local call coming rather than from a client call, they would have bypassed it. But actually making this port visibility to public actually worked.
Lead to the problem.
But still, you see, if I make this port visibility to the public, this is more like a hack, right? Because I don't want actually to make my backend visible.
That actually depends on, yeah, it feels like a hack because we are exposing it to the internet. We don't want that. It should be the front end calling the back end. And but localhost 8000 is also not working. So I don't know what kind of rerouting GitHub code space is doing. That's something for me to explore.
Okay. For now, I'll just set this port visibility to public and continue doing the work.
Yes. Okay. So that's for me. I'm just gonna put it in the chat so that I can export it later. Code spaces. Out. Okay, quick check. How many of you have the Lick API done? Byte API done? Lick API is done? Cool. Okay. If you want code for reference, like backend completed code for reference, here is the completed code. Nothing fancy, just the backend completely written for your reference. Okay, let me put another 10 minutes for the APIs and then we'll talk. Tired, exhausted.
Trying to make some minor improvements.
Like
I'm adding a name to the candy. Each candy has a different name.
Nice. With the front end?
Yeah.
Nice. What other improvements? Anyone stuck with writing the byte? I haven't even touched the byte code yet. Okay, that's an awful lot of silence. I don't know whether people are doing it or stuck, confused, or everything is working and it's boring.
No, it's for me at least it's very new and interesting, so I'm having fun.
You're having fun. Cool. Here is something I was trying to do. Pydantic has these things called validators. That will run when you do something out of the box, like that is not okay. For example, a candy which is of size 0, if you give it to the customer, they're gonna like you are giving like an empty hand to the customers. Like that's not acceptable. Stuff like that. So what I did was I did that and randomly set like my size to 0. So it's going to error out something. Yes. Oh, I uncommented something. That's why. Yeah. So what it's going to do is every time I try to create like a candy, it's going to error out saying like, hey, pydantic validation error, which is like one of the candy has a value which is less than 0, which is 0, and it's not acceptable. So I have to, it forces me to think in terms of, okay, I have to write code in such a way that the validators pass. But the caveat is, if you're updating that object, it's not good. Here I'm updating the candy size. and I'm checking, like, it can go to negative. It doesn't work when you're on the updating side of things. Right? It can go to negative, doesn't matter. So that's when you should know where to draw your lines as to where does Pydantic take over, where does you have to chip in, stuff like that. Let's say you write another, I'm gonna give like an example here. That's Pydantic. Let's say person and base model, and then there is like a first name, classic, right? First name, last name, and a full name. Now I have to have a condition, like here I've just given greater than 0 because it's an integer field, I know that. Now if I have to have a condition which says this full name should always be a concatenation of first name and last name, I cannot do it directly in the field parameter. So what I do is I write a validator. It's a part of Pydantic. So you write this validator function. Just like this class is not a normal class, it's extended from base model. There is like a validator decorator in Pydantic, which we use, and then say that validate full name. And to this, we will also get the full name. Okay. Now we can say self dot. I'm not going very hard on the syntax. Self dot full name should always be equal to self dot first name plus space self dot last name. If else, I'm raising a. If not, raise a value error saying name should be proper, something like that. Okay. So what happens is when you create a person object, let's actually test this out. I am not sure because Pydantic changed their syntaxes recently. So this may or may not work. Wait. Did I do something wrong? Yeah, power of copying random things, I guess. That's better. Should be used with fields keyword are not bad. Oh, yes. So you have to pass the field name, which is full name. That should work. It is an instance method. I'm so confused right now. Let's see. Pydantic validator. Yeah, they changed a bunch of things recently. Functional validators is what I'm trying to do. Field validator. This is the one. Yes. And yeah, validator was very 1.0 version. And then you have this. You have to write everything again, which I'm not gonna do. And then validate. Fearless comma use. Something like this should work. Mm. But then you also need access to the first name and the last name, which is not available when you do specific fields. When you do one field, only that value will be accessible. So it has to be model validator. Model validator means you get all the objects at once and then you're working with it. I'm going to do after. You can also do before serialization. Before means before checking whether it's string or not, before doing any form of type checking. After means after doing all sorts of type checking. And then self dot, just need to pass the self instead of the class. Self, then self. Let's try that. Column. Model validator need to import. Okay. So person of A, comma B, comma AB should pass. It takes one positional argument, 4 were given. Nice. Now where is that coming from? First, this is why I should have the examples before. Last name, full name. Yeah. So if I change this to something else, it's going to error out. Say first name not equal to last name. So this is how you write validators when it's when you have like things combined. When you want to do it for a specific, for example, another thing that you can do like field validator is of type for first name, let's say. Def validate first name class comma value if b dot 0 dot is digit, I guess. Like if your first letter is a digit, it's not really a number. Trace value error name can't start with a number. So these are the things that you can do with validators. Why I'm teaching validation so forward than databases is because databases, you have a ton of resources out there. Databases has been there for long time, almost 10 plus years, 20 plus years. And there is a lot of resources around it. But this is fairly new. And when you're writing FastAPI, you don't write conditions for each and everything. You just have to write these validators and that should take care of it. Yes, Sanjeev.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to understand Pydantic in relation with databases, that like how do they work together, or do they even work together?
So what you do is when you do front end back end database, you get the input from the user and then serialize it, ensures that everything that they have sent from the front end is in the right format, right data type, right format, any condition, business logic checks, right?
Okay.
For example, a check cannot be negative number, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So you do all those validations and then put it in the database.
Okay.
So it's mostly for API to validate the input and the output are going in the right format.
Okay. So it's almost like it sits in between the front end and the database.
Correct.
Yeah.
Database can also do certain amount of validations, right? If you have a table, Yes, but it's like this is like capturing the errors earlier, not waiting until it reaches database, and also keeping you have this concept called serialization in backend. Django has a serializer built in. You can use them, but when you do it with FastAPI, they have done it with Pydantic. Pydantic is written in Rust, which makes it faster. So that's the ecosystem that's evolving. So we're almost time. We have half an hour. I can let you write more code, or if you have questions, I can answer them. And I have a small announcement to make. Sure, candy bag also can be a thing. It's often all a variable name. It can be anything. Okay, I'm going to introduce, if you don't have questions, I'm going to introduce more complexity into your life. So, yes, that's me. Again, in the ecosystem of writing things in Pydantic, writing things in FastAPI, the person who wrote FastAPI has also written SQL model, which is like a layer on top of database. If you've known or worked with any of the ORMs out there, Django has an ORM, JavaScript has an ORM. So this is also an ORM, which is what I was trying to find last time, Sanjeev. So this is written again on top of SQL Alchemy. It uses SQL Alchemy internally, but also has FastAPI specialities. Again, you will be writing something very similar to, let's see, write a table with SQL. There should be a code here, SQL model. This one, yes. So in raw SQL, you will write sentences like this, select star from table. And that can be converted into Python-like things by using what you call as ORMs, right? And I'm trying to find an example somewhere here. Here you go. Here is a hero, extends from SP. It looks very similar to Pydantic, but it's also going to write to a database. Class hero, you're trying to create a superhero table, and it has every hero has an ID and a name, a secret name, and an age. So when you create this table and start writing data to it, it's going to look like this. And you can do all sorts of foreign key, all of that with this. This is something for you to explore again. And
so
that,
so when you use this, you don't need Pydantic, right? It's either or.
Not really. You need Pydantic so that you do the front-end validation. So how this works is, you haven't done it yet here. So let's say, I need to find a good example for running these validators.
So I'll also explain the thought so that you have more context. So what I'm trying to understand is you have the validation can also happen at a database level, but one level before also, which means it can happen at the ORM level itself. So I'm just trying to understand, like, is there an either or decision, or is it that you should always use both of them?
It's an either or decision only. If you don't want to do it, I completely understand. Let's say you're writing a post API to create a user, right? Let's say create user. And what does this create user get is a bunch of data. So this is exactly how it looks. Create user, and then user should get a person. Person has full first name, last name, full name, and that looks like a dictionary. So, and it returns a, say, person.text. This is all you will do, right? If not, in Flask world, what will happen is, let me show you a small example in the Flask world, where you get like data equal to request object. Somewhere there will be a request object dot JSON, and then you check if the data of first name is there, first name not equal to. First, you have to check whether the first name is empty or not. Like,
Okay. So yeah, we'll do the validations here.
mhm, first name in data and first name not equal to empty, and first name dot is digit not a digit, and then whatever validations for first name
Yeah.
you have to go on writing this for first name, last name, all of that. Instead of that, what we are doing is we are creating a class which is going to work as a serializer. Everything that comes from your request object is going to get passed to that. Serialized ensures the data type, ensures all the validations runs, and then gives you an object.
And also, so my question is also pushing to the database. So that also happens here, right? So, like ultimately, what I want to understand is I just have to write this, like the import from base model once. It can be
This is only a validator. Pydantic is only a validator.
Okay. Validator. It's only validator. Okay. Yeah, that's all. That's what I wanted.
If you need a database, you have to write another. You can write it in the same file. We can write it in another file. I usually recommend writing it in a models.py. Where even if I'm writing the same, the person class, I'll write it like this. I don't have it.
This.
Right.
This is what I want to understand.
Yeah. And then that's your business logic to create an DB object, whether those validations are different. Okay, so there is a lot more to cover here. We have just touched the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more. One of those, like I said, is ORM layers. Another thing that we need to learn as a backend is middlewares. So if there is like some common logic that has to happen, CORS, for example, is a middleware that has to happen across your application. You write something called as a middleware. Like here, say your RSS middleware that happens across your application. For every API response, the CORS happens. So this is something for us to explore. And then, where did we go? Yeah, here. There is documentation, like your API documentation, how do you expose it? And then there is authentication, asynchronous APIs. Like it's a huge task. So you send an API request, get a response instantly, but then something else is also going to happen in the background. This is for huge tasks. What else? Testing your APIs. How do you test end to end? How do you mock things? And then deploying an API is there. All of these can be one session in itself where we go deeper and deeper and deeper. That's why I'm saying, like, this is just to give you a taste of it. How far you want to go from here, it's up to you. This is just to give you that first lick of the candy so that you enjoy it all the way. With that, I'm gonna wrap this up. Pause for a question. Does it mean an API by itself has to cover all the validation with respect of validation happening at the front end? Validations would be covered in them. Yes, front end validations and back end validations are different. Even though you are doing all the validations in the front end, I highly recommend, it's a recommendation, it's a practice that you write the validations in the back end also. Because you don't know when you have to expose certain things. Like if you have a client who's requesting that same API to be consumed via API call or from an external system, you don't know what kind of data is going to hit your backend. So backend validations are primarily important. Front end, even if you don't do, you have a solid backend which is going to handle all the errors. It's great. Why? Because you are running your backend on a server, and servers are hackable. If they get into your system, they can get into your data, right? If they break your front end a couple of times, it's going to be in their browser, no problem. But backend is highly exposed to threats because they can access your whole system. So have proper checks, have proper validations, have proper networking. Like we did public port, we don't usually do that in production. Shouldn't, but we couldn't figure it out today. So cool. Any other questions? Okay. I hope you all have a lot of questions. When you have them, if you have them, do write them to me. Few points. One, after this event, you're going to get a feedback email. Please do fill it, especially the ones who have attended it. Share your experience, share what we can improve. All of that would be really grateful if you can do that. The second thing is, I have a small announcement that for the August, what I've planned is a whole 30 days of learning challenge. That is, you can figure out what you want to learn. We can find some way to, come together, either a WhatsApp group or a Discord channel. 30 days, you decide what you want to learn. We keep each other accountable, share updates every day for 1 hour for 30 days. And at the end of August, we have a group session where we come and share what we learned, what we have built. How does that sound?
That is awesome. I'm in.
Who was that?
Sanjeev.
Yeah, you said I'm in. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All that instructions is going to come to you very soon. That's it for building backend with FastAPI. Like I said, we have only touched the iceberg. When you explore deeper and if you face any problems, you know where to find me, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm going to stop. The question is, would I be able to learn backend without the knowledge of front end? I'm trying to learn Django. Every book seems to cover only HTML because Django is a little old and it also comes from an old set of writing your templates and all that. You can completely skip all of that templating and go directly into the API side of things. So I'm going to give you a few keywords for Django, which is Django REST framework. Like when you install Django REST framework also. Don't follow the Django documentation, rather follow the Django serialized, like Django REST framework documentation. That is number one. Number two, let me finish this, Sanjeev, once again. There is also a serialization concept in Django REST framework. Django REST framework, anytime you do Google search, use DRF serialization. That's the concept number two. And then Django has its own ORMs. And pretty much that's it. And there is like form sets, view sets, all of that. That's also for you to explore, form sets, view sets. But anytime you see these templates, just avoid it altogether and focus on writing your serializers, writing your APIs, and then your serial in your ORM layer. That should get you done without touching any front end. Does that make sense? Yes, Sanjeev.
Yeah, so my question is also related to the same topic. So let's assume that you have a very powerful, fully back-end heavy app written in Python, and like everything is handled in the backend. So what is the simplest front-end tech stack or framework that you would pick? So that just gets you going. All it has to do is call the API, display the data. So what is like what would you pick?
I gonna have like it very depends, right?
Yeah, yeah, I know that, but I just wanted simplest possible thing. Let's say even if it could be displaying text and numbers on the screen. What is the simplest thing which can call APIs like and then display that every time I click a button, call API, bring it back.
All you need is to visualize the API, not expose it to users, nothing like that. Postman.
Yeah. Okay. Just to view the data.
Yes.
Okay.
If you want to explore your APIs, share it with other people for them to use it as APIs. Postman. Why even bother writing one?
No, I mean, like from a front end, let's say from an application standpoint, I want to build some. The thing is, the reason behind that is every time I try building something, it's the front end that kind of intimidates me. Right? I'm getting lost there. So, what is that?
Front end is like that. There is no other way. Like back end people and front end is like not a match made. So we have to hustle through. But to give you I would choose React.js.
React. Okay.
But recent times, what I figured out is they have coupled it, like it's all versus doing. They have coupled it heavily with backend.
Okay.
Like what I mean is, let's see. Previously, I don't know whether people have done this create React app. There was one. So when React started, you can actually start a React app using this command, but this has been deprecated. What they've done instead is they have done something very, which I feel is stupid. I am saying it on record, but it's okay. Like if I'm trying to install, I cannot just install. Yeah, I cannot just install React alone. It has to be either with Next.js or with Remix.
Oh, okay.
Next.js comes with its own backend, its own structures. I'm like, it's a full stack React framework. I just want React. And this has been my recent problem. And how I fix it is there is something called White.js. This is also a front end tool to create apps. So this will give you like a create React app version, just the front end, no back end.
Okay. And this is what you used for the project today as well?
No, I use create React app.
Oh,
even though it's deprecated, it's simple. Everything works on
okay.
every version. White is just a little bit heavy.
Okay. I don't know. Cool.
There was another.
Okay,
thing.
I think
Yeah, go ahead. Swagger, React.js, this learning curve is very steep. Yes and no. If you feel like React.js learning curve is very heavy, please, please, please go ahead and build this second one here, thinking in React. This will get you set for sure. It will tell you, like, help you make your thinking in terms of components. And that's pretty much what's missing from the traditional JavaScript. So to build this end to end, read every bit of the documentation here. That should set you up for it.
For me, the problem is in understanding the JSX itself, because HTML and Java both together in a file is like more complicated.
I know.
It is like it is easy when you see JavaScript as JavaScript and HTML in a set. There is a clean line of division, but when you put everything together as a soup, I'm getting confused a lot.
I feel you. Exact reaction I had when I first wrote React. Like, what the hell is this? And then I made peace with it because jQuery or any other thing is like too horrible for me. Like if you have written document.inner HTML so many times in your life, then you will appreciate React. Probably that should be one exercise where we do vanilla JavaScript and then try React. Confuse the thing out of ourselves. But yeah, I found this to be the thing, but you have to read through the lines. You cannot just copy paste code and hope it works. There's like a lot of conceptual component re-rendering, state management and all that, which is fairly new in terms of thinking. All right. Thank you so much once again, everyone, for joining. I will see you all in the learning special month, August. And for those of you who are trying to learn something new, that's going to be great. Leave the feedback. Tell us how we can go about it. Where is the best place for communication? How do you like to update? Maybe you can create an application where you update your learning progress every day and publish it. Who knows? We can all build that together. The door is open for you to come learn. I'll see you all soon. I'm gonna quickly. We started with what 20 plus people. Now we are 10, but that's okay. You can just take a picture for the memory. Smile, please, whoever has the camera on, which is mostly me and Sanjeev. Hi, Gorna. Thank you. Representation max. Okay. Oops, I just put it on my clipboard. I need one more. Sorry, guys. Smile, please. Okay. Cool. Thank you so much. See you all once again in another session. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.